If you have $100 million and you put it into gold and you wait 100 years, you'll have $12 million worth of gold. That's why you don't want gold. If you have $100 million of Bitcoin and you hold it 100 years, you'll still have the $100 million worth of Bitcoin, right? So gold is the best of the commodities, but it's awful because it's got a 2% inflation rate. What's the difference between 2% inflation rate and 0% inflation rate? It's the difference between living 30 years and living forever. Like one is mortal, okay? Here's your choice. Take the orange pill, you live forever. Take the gold pill, you live, you're half dead in 30 years, you're half dead, you're gonna live 75, 80 and you're dead, right? This is a mortal life, this is immortal life. That's the difference between 0 and 2%.
Saylor kicks off by explaining the fundamental problem with gold, supply inflation and physical limitations. Although gold has served as a store of value for centuries, it inflates by approximately 2% every year, which means its supply will double every 30 years. Bitcoin, by contrast, has a fixed supply capped at 21 million coins, making it immune to inflation. Saylor starkly contrasts the long-term outcomes of investing in gold versus Bitcoin. If you invest $100 million in gold today, it will likely be worth only $12 million after a century due to inflation. In contrast, Bitcoin retains 100% of its original value over time because of its zero inflation model. According to Saylor, Bitcoin offers something gold never can: economic immortality.
Please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. You can also check out our other videos on cryptocurrencies and the overall digital asset space and drop your comments and observations in the comments section below. Everything you do helps with the YouTube algorithm and immensely contributes to the channel's growth. Thanks and enjoy the video.
Well, why should I buy Bitcoin instead of gold? Well, the gold supply is going to double every 30 years. And you can't teleport gold 60 times a second. And the AI is not going to want the gold, right? And you can't put gold on your iPhone, right? Gold's not digital. If you have $100 million and you put it into gold and you wait 100 years, you'll have $12 million worth of gold. That's why you don't want gold. If you have $100 million of Bitcoin and you hold it 100 years, you'll still have the $100 million worth of Bitcoin, right? So gold is the best of the commodities, but it's awful because it's got a 2% inflation rate. What's the difference between 2% inflation rate and 0% inflation rate? It's the difference between living 30 years and living forever. Like one is mortal, okay? Here's your choice. Take the orange pill, you live forever. Take the gold pill, you live, you're half dead in 30 years, you're half dead, you're gonna live 75, 80 and you're dead, right? This is a mortal life, this is immortal life. That's the difference between 0 and 2%. Gold is the greatest of the commodities. Every other commodity inflates at 10% a year, 20% a year, 50% a year. They're awful. Commodities are awful stores of value. But what are they good at? Here's what they're good at. Commodities are ethically sound. Okay, that means they're an asset without an issuer. You can promote gold or a chicken in every pot or land or silver, or you can promote soybeans, or you can tell people to keep kerosene behind their house. Those are commodities. You cannot promote a security. A security is an asset with an issuer. If a senator says, "God bless Apple," she's promoting a security. If a senator says, "God bless Bitcoin," they're promoting a commodity. It's like promoting bluegrass music. It's like promoting fasting. It's simply a cultural or a technical idea. So what do you want as your long-term store of value? You want something economically sound. That means absolutely zero inflation rate forever, and nobody can screw with that. You want something ethically sound. That means an asset without an issuer, where the inventor, Prometheus, disappeared. You own fire, electricity, you can use it. The English language, you can use it. Math, you can use it. Bitcoin, you can use it. There's no company with copyright that charges you a royalty, right? It needs to be ethically sound, needs to be a commodity, right? And finally, it needs to be technically sound, good engineering. And so, a building is sort of economically sound, not as good as Bitcoin because you've got property taxes and entropy,
And earthquakes happen.
And a share of Magnificent Seven, it's kind of economically sound, but it's a security. And if the Chinese decide to seize Apple's assets, or if the US seizes a Chinese company's assets, you've got all sorts of political risk. But Bitcoin is both the economically sound asset and it's the ethically sound asset, but it's a big tech digital network. It means that I can move $100 billion a million times a second. Okay, so what the big idea is, I can give a capital asset to 8 billion people on their mobile phone, and 10 million computers can trade it a million times an hour across every jurisdiction. Bitcoin is digital energy. If you want your company, your family, your endowment to last forever, you have to capitalize it with an asset which doesn't degrade at the rate of, the rate of the dollar is 7% a year for 100 years. When you lose 7% of your energy for 100 years, you lose 99.9% of whatever you are over 100 years. And the only alternative is you got to be an investor. So now you juggle razor blades. It's like, oh, I got to go build something, a warehouse, and it'll last for 32 years and find a tenant who's not going to pay the rent, and then I get taxed on it. And then I got to go and talk to the politician who created the tax, and I got to run for office. And your world becomes just one of misery because you're attempting to not lose your economic energy. So, I see Bitcoin as a profound step forward for the human race, because for the first time, economics, crosses from being an art to being a science. For the first time, you have perfect money, or a perfect capital asset, non-defective.
A key part of Saylor's argument is that Bitcoin represents a technological revolution in how we store and transfer value. Bitcoin is digital energy, a form of money that can be moved instantly across borders without the need for intermediaries. This makes it not only more efficient, but also more resilient than traditional assets. I can move $100 billion a million times a second, Saylor says, highlighting the unmatched speed and scalability of the Bitcoin network. Bitcoin's technological superiority also extends to its security. As the most secure and decentralized digital network on Earth, Bitcoin is highly resistant to cyber attacks. Saylor dismisses fears about quantum computing or other technological advances posing a threat to Bitcoin, explaining that those who stand to benefit most from Bitcoin's success, namely those who hold large amounts of it, will be the first to implement any technological advancements that might arise. This ensures that Bitcoin will remain at the cutting edge of security and technology for decades to come.
Today, we're not on the gold standard. We're not on the Bitcoin standard. The US government has no problem printing money. They can print as much as they want. And in fact, every government on Earth, all of them, they're either on their own standard or they're on the dollar standard. So in this particular case, I don't think we have to worry about Bitcoin held in custody being seized by the government any more than you have to worry about your Apple stock being seized by the government, because the government doesn't need to devalue the dollar against Apple stock to print more dollars either. So it's not really an issue. It's oftentimes, people have these inflammatory, tropes or inflammatory memes that they use. And it's like, I say that because I want you to give me your money. Okay, if you don't trust the bank, then you'll buy my hardware wallet. If you don't trust this government, you'll move to my country and you'll buy a passport from me. So if you don't trust that company, you'll sell that stock and buy the other stock. So there's a lot of this kind of messaging and ideas that they're very inflammatory, and they're meant to actually stampede people into some behavior, whatever, which is financially beneficial. Like you can't make your own investment decisions. Investing is very hard. You should give me your money. I'll make the decisions for you. I'm going to charge you 2% fee and 20% of the upside. It's like, well, what should I do about hyperinflation? Well, you need to invest in a diversified portfolio of global alternative assets across 152 different asset classes and revalue every quarter. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, that's okay. Give me your money, girlie. I'll do it for you, right? That's the kind of fear-mongering to get you to give me your money, right? And I use it to sell you a gun, to sell you a hardware wallet, to sell you an account, to sell you a financial advisor, to sell you an insurance policy, to sell you a, fill in the blank, right? Whatever it might be. And ultimately, I think that there's just a lot of fear that's unnecessary. The bigger idea is Bitcoin is digital capital. It's 1,000,000 times smarter, 1,000,000 times faster, 1,000,000 times stronger, 1,000,000 times more elegant than analog capital, physical capital, and financial capital. And it's simply a technology transformation. It's like, don't take 10,000 records and haul them around with you and 10,000 books whenever you travel. Take the iPad with 10,000 books on it and take the iPhone with 10 million songs on it when you travel, right? It's like blah, 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 but the phone will eat me and it's listening to me and it will steal my identity and kill me. It's like, it's just a computer with some digital files on it, right? And so that's the digital transformation of capital, and that's what Bitcoin represents. But my point is, it's 1,000,000,000 times easier to just hack the bank or hack the communication network and make money than it is to hack Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the most cyber-resistant, the most powerful digital network on Earth. It's the hardest thing to hack. So when someone pitches quantum computing, it's a degenerate 20-something crypto trader that wants you to buy his yo-yo quantum coin and make him rich because he's got a yo-yo quantum algorithm. And I just shake my head because I think, who could be so stupid to fall for this kind of alarmism? It's ridiculous and a waste of time. But having said it all, the generic statesman-like answer is technology will advance. Bitcoin is the best, most profitable use of computer power in order to protect money. If technology advances, you got to believe that the people most incentivized to use the technology will be the one with the trillions of dollars of money to protect. It will go there first. All those advances will be first implemented into the Bitcoin network to defend the network. They won't be used by teenage boys to attack the network.
Saylor concludes by describing Bitcoin as a profound step forward for the human race. For the first time in history, we have a form of money that is both ethically and economically sound, as well as technologically advanced. Bitcoin represents a shift from analog to digital capital, where value is stored not in physical assets like gold, but in a decentralized, immutable digital ledger. This transition has far-reaching implications, not just for individuals, but for corporations, governments, and the global economy as a whole. Bitcoin is 1,000,000 times smarter, 1,000,000 times faster, 1,000,000 times stronger, 1,000,000 times more elegant than analog capital, Saylor asserts. It is a technology transformation on par with the invention of the internet or electricity, and those who embrace it will be well positioned for the future.
Please like and subscribe my channel.